Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Jabroni Drive. On this week's episode, the Elimination Chamber, Becky Lynch versus Mami, Seth Rollins versus Drew McIntyre, Gunther and the Judgment Day, The Rock and Cody. Will this be the greatest episode of Jabroni Drive yet? I think so. Timmy, what do you have to say to all the Schmidt-Lavellites out there?
Tom, everyone knows that when they tune in to Jabroni Drive, that there's something that's just too sweet about it. And when you're a jabroni, you're a jabroni for life.
I love it. Jabroni Drive starts now. Just kidding. Hello, everyone out there, and thank you for listening to Jabroni Drive. My name's Tom Lavelle, and I'm always accompanied by Mr. Timothy Schmidt. We want to thank you for listening. We appreciate you. We love you. If you're not already doing it, please give us that follow, that subscribe. WWE content, all professional wrestling. We covered all, mainly WWE. We're on the road to WrestleMania. We hit all the topics. We've got the info. We've got the eye of what's going on. We've got our finger on the pulse. And we're trying to give all that sweet, sweet content to you. So we love you. We appreciate you coming along. We've got some exciting news. If you're a wrestling fan and you have a question, say you have a question or topic or something you want to bring up on Jabroni Drive, congratulations. You can do it. There's a new hotline that you can call. Leave us a question. Call us, ask us, Tom, what's going on with The Rock? What's going on with Cody? What's going to happen? Are they going to finish the story? Give us a call at 215-948-6546. That's 215-948-6546. And leave us a message. We will air it on the show. We would love to hear from you. Call Jabroni Drive at Schmidt and Lavelle, 215-948-6546, and give us that question. We will answer it live on our show. We love you. Thank you for following along. New episodes every week. Timmy, let's get right into it. Let's go. Let's start. And first and foremost, let's talk about the Elimination Chamber. And I kind of want to get your overall. You had a lot of things, building up inside, I think, when you watched Elimination Chamber. Tell me what you thought of the Elimination Chamber overall, and just as a fan viewing it, where you're at with what happened on, I guess, Saturday morning.
Well, I will say that I got up at 5 a.m. We are Eastern Standard Time here, so I got up at 5 a.m. and I tuned into the show, and I just didn't feel it. Just like, look, I love the crowd was incredible. I thought the stadium looked great. Like if you watch the show from start to finish, you probably noticed it was like right at the time when the tag team match between Damian Priest and Finn Balor and Pete Dunne and what's the other guy's name?
Pete Dunne, and I'm drawing a blank too. Whatever.
But whatever. Right at the time, like it started going from dusk right to night, and that was like a really cool thing. The aesthetics were incredible. It just, for me, I felt like the penultimate event to WrestleMania fell flat. And that's just me.
I agree.
Raw reaction to what that Elimination Chamber was. There was a few matches that I thought were good. I thought both the Elimination Chamber matches weren't good at all. I just thought they were just okay. And we'll dive into more detail as we go through each of the matches, and I think that's the plan. But I just didn't think it just had that oomph, right? Like right before WrestleMania. Like WrestleMania is like such a huge event, and there's no one that's really. I mean, look, Drew is tied to WrestleMania. Seth is tied, like Seth and Cody, the Bloodline. Like none of these guys were involved in your penultimate event, and this is the stuff that drives the business. And I just think it was a fail there on the WWE's side of planning this event. And they went a long way too. They went to Perth, Australia. Look, there was a lot of home cooking there for a lot of the individuals that were from Australia, which was nice. I just wish that it just had more pop to it, right? Like they brought Cody out and they brought Seth out and they got excellent pops and great reaction. I just felt like it was just like a C, maybe C plus promotion, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think very like a forgettable um elimination chamber. A lot of things were accomplished though, and the way I like to look at it is we got that match with Gunther and Jey Uso last week, and I feel like had that match been on the Chamber PLE, that would have added a lot to this PLE. But like you said, there were no men's singles title matches on the card. You know, the United States champion was in the chamber. The heavyweight champion didn't fight because he injured. The undisputed champion didn't fight because he hardly ever fights. And Gunther fought on Monday Night Raw. So no, none of those matches. Um, I thought the crowd, like you said, was cool. The stadium looked cool. And when's the next time they're gonna go to Australia? You know, I don't feel like they have to. They felt like they really have to go crazy because when are they gonna go back in 10 years? You know, it's
Yeah.
gonna be a while, I'd imagine. I uh I I thought the overall, what I would say is that the women were very impressive. And it made me realize how far the women's division has come since, certainly since the beginning of the women's revolution, I guess, but the um even in the last year, 2 years. It's really incredible the depth that the women's roster has, and their stars are major stars. I
I'll,
love Mami. I was really impressed with the up and comer Tiffany Stratton. I thought she was incredible, and my God, did she look amazing in that fucking outfit. I was like, holy shit. But I thought that the women looked strong. Um, the only thing that really bothered me about this PLE is story. There's not a lot of story in everything. And we mentioned the tag team earlier with Pete Dunne and Tyler
Tyler Bate,
Bate now.
New Catch Republic. That's their name now. That's
New
their
Catch
new name.
Republic, and I thought that match was really impressive. I thought it was you're never going to see a WWE
So
PLE and not
hold
be
on.
impressed by the in-ring ability. I just felt like there was no story tying really any of it together.
Right. So, I mean, before are we diving into each match, or are we just gonna
Is that what you
just
want to do, or let's start with the first match. Let's start with the
um
women's
yeah, all right, yeah. So let's do that. So the women's match, in my opinion, I thought was one of the better matches of the night. I thought that you said Tiffany Stratton, um, yeah, really kind of appealed to you, and I thought that her and Bianca Belair basically carried that match, and Liv Morgan. She was also incredible. I thought she was really good too. There was a bunch of spots that um she pulled off where I was like, man, like these three are just like really, really, really good, right? Raquel Rodriguez, she doesn't do it for me really all that. I mean, there's some.
Naomi, what'd you think of her?
I wish she stayed in the match longer. She was the first one that was eliminated. I just wish that she stayed in a little bit longer because, I mean, you saw her in the Royal Rumble where she stayed in for quite some time, and like there was a lot of good interaction with her and all the other wrestlers. I wish she would have lasted a little bit longer. I was surprised that she went out quickly. Um, Not surprised that Becky Lynch wins this. I thought that there was an opportunity for Bianca Belair to really like take this thing because she has the show, right? She has everything else going for her. I thought that that might have like catapulted her into, that WrestleMania spot. Who knows? She might be in some way, shape, or form I mean, I think she has to be. She's just so incredible. Like she's more impressive every time I watch her. I'm like, my God, like she's better than what I thought and better than like even when I see her do things and I'm like she's a good wrestler. I still underestimate her. I'm like, you know what? Like maybe it wasn't that great. And then I see it again. I'm like, man, she's fucking good, dude. She's really good. And Tiffany Stratton, she is bursting on the scene like no other. I mean,
That
I
was a
don't remember.
coming out. That was
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah, I'm super impressed with her. The way she carried herself, the way she sells, the way she was the only one really. I mean, Liv Morgan did one too, that really went above and beyond and jumped off the top of the elimination chamber, right? She did the total flip, right? She did the it's just it's crazy, but I just didn't think that it was all that impressive. The end of the match was kind of cool where like it worked in succession, like where
Right, I liked that.
yeah, it was a cool finish. Um But again, like we get Becky Lynch now against Mami, which is now the match
Which
because
is what
Mami
we
def
predicted. And very, it's funny because it's like that double-edged. It's like, okay, we we realize like the appeal of that. You're getting Becky Lynch, who's one of the greatest women's wrestlers of all time, to go against Mommy, who's been on maybe the best run of a female wrestler of all time and is one of the best of all time in a match at WrestleMania. Like, wow, that's a stacked match right there. But you're there's no surprise. You knew that's where they were
yeah,
going. You
yeah.
thought, yeah, maybe, but there was never any like, oh shit, she's not gonna win it. And maybe that succession too was part of it.
And that's I think the biggest problem I have with the PLA is that everything that was predictable happened. And that's not like been the case for the WWE recently. It's been kind of against the grain. Like, look, for for the most part, most of these guys that hold the titles have been holding on to the titles, but they really bring in that doubt pretty much every time they wrestle somebody. You're like, could they actually win? Like Chad Gable, right? Like Jey Uso. Like every week, we're like, this could be the opportunity for somebody to win. And at this PLE, it was like, no, it just felt like, chalk, right? Like
Yeah.
if you ever fill out a March Madness bracket, you go down the line and you go through like the number one seeds and you go, yeah, like Kentucky's winning this game, Duke's winning this game. It just felt like that, like chalk down. You go down a lineup, it's chalk all the way across the board. And then popping over to if we can stick with women here, Tom, and we'll close out both the women's matches with Nia Jax. I mean, Nia Jax she's been an absolute force. Um, and that match versus Mommy was in it was a heavyweight match, and they built it up, and I'm telling you right now, dude, they are really sticking with Nia Jax right now because what we saw on Raw, it's like, dude, she has gone leaps and bounds, right? From the time that we've seen her to
Yeah.
now. It's incredible like how much momentum she has and how much they respect her now. Like it's it's
She's a real
really,
contender.
yeah,
She's a
it's a
real
real
contender.
180, and it's really incredible to see. I think she attacked Becky Lynch on Monday Night
Yep.
Raw, uh, and she's continuing this like dominant like portrayal of herself, and I'm not arguing with it. You can see it. I mean, she is the what do they call her? The irresistible force.
Uh-huh. I won't make the same joke that I made last time, but yes. She's been very impressive and she's done a great job, and WWE has done a great job of making her that big like opponent that man, she could beat anyone in the women's division. It seems very realistic that she could beat them. And that match I thought was really good. Like you said, I think a great way to say it, a heavyweight match. They were throwing blow for blow. I would have liked, and the HJB brought this up to me. I feel like Naya's finisher should be a little more protected. I don't know if I necessarily care for Rhea Ripley kicking out of the
Yeah, that was the only thing that jumped out to me too, as well. It's like, hey, this thing has been devastating, right? And Rhea Ripley kicks out of it like the first time. Like, I don't know how you avoid that though, because like she has to use her finisher at some point during the match, right?
right.
Do you let her just not do the finisher on Mami? Like how like because she if she does do the finisher, she has to kick out because you're going to keep the title on Mommy no matter what, right? So like how do you get it to that
I
point?
guess you'd have to do it to where she's under a rope, you know,
And then
and
throws her leg up or something like that, or
yeah, yeah, or like it's there, Nia
you know.
pulls her into the corner and her arm is out and it's under a rope and the ref goes one, two, hold on a second, she's under the rope. Like you don't have to be grabbing it, you can just be underneath it,
No,
you
okay.
know? So
Yeah.
just have her be underneath it and say,
Yeah, I mean, look,
I think that's the way to do that.
it's a good idea. That's the one thing I did notice that I was like, ah, man, like you're creating this monster in Nia Jax. And
Uh,
it just
you're gonna make
doesn't.
me say Nia Jax.
No, you're creating this monster in Nia Jax, who I mean, for for the most part, has been just just dominant, right? Like she's
Right.
just and to see that, because I thought like for a second when she did that move, I'm like, dude, like this is it changing hands at this like at this point because like that's the ender, right? Like that's
Yeah.
the Banzai drop from
Can't take the
Yokozuna.
title
Like,
off of Mommy. She's just
yeah.
too hot right now. And I think, like we were saying earlier, it was very predictable. We knew she was coming. Even Corey Graves with the slip, um, when Becky Lynch won, saying, Becky Lynch, now it's official. Becky Lynch versus Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania. And then you could see him like pause. Well, we don't know yet. Michael Cole says he's still, and but let's get into it as one. I'd like to note the evolution of Liv Morgan's character is coming into play. She was the last one to beat Rhea Ripley, as she mentioned, but at the Royal Rumble last year, she finished second. She was eliminated last by Rhea Ripley and lost. This one that just happened, she finished second again. She was the last person eliminated yet again and lost. She's had a lot of close, very similar arcs to that of like a Drew McIntyre, where she's just fought coming up short, coming up short, coming up short. And I just want to note she was the last one pinned in the Elimination Chamber as well. So she's been putting up a lot of good fights here, but just can't seem to push through and get that decisive victory. So I just something I wanted to note there, and maybe that becomes part of a storyline moving on. So on Monday Night Raw, you have uh Mommy come out with Dirty Dom, who introduces her and is interrupted by Becky Lynch. And she cuts a promo. And I got to tell you, And you know I'm not the biggest Becky Lynch supporter. First of all, I didn't care for the look. I'm like, what are you dressing like? I don't understand this. The backwards hat, it just seemed a little goofy to me. It seemed a little off on this one. Sometimes I like her outfits. I didn't really care for this one. Either way, she cuts her BS promo where she's some big tough girl where she clearly could not beat up Mommy, but it fell flat, I think. And I love, and Dom scored a ton of points for me when he gave that big yawn. Like, finally, someone is going back at Becky Lynch and giving her a dose of her own medicine and saying, like, yo, you ain't as great as you think you are. Boring. And Mommy absolutely eviscerated Becky Lynch and just destroyed her in her response, saying that, behind every man, there is an even greater woman, but I'm not behind you at all. I'm ahead of you now because Mommy is always on top. I loved it. I love Mommy. Becky Lynch, please lose at WrestleMania. Timmy, anything?
wondering if wondering if we're so the one thing I did notice during that promo too is that the crowd tried to get behind Mommy and tried to finish her saying like they're trying to chant with her
Yes, I
with
noticed
the
that too. On
with the
top. Yeah.
Mommy always is always on top. So I'm wondering if we see that added to her whole persona where she goes, Mommy is always, and maybe like the whole crowd says on top or something like that.
Yeah.
But there might be some sort of crowd interaction. But it's been a long time that since we've seen a heel such as Mommy be as over as she is. And it's hard to work against that when yeah, you're a face in the WWE, right? Like who do you like it doesn't matter who you throw at her because she's always going to be the favorite, right? It's like she's
She is
always
the face. As much as
yeah,
she plays the heel, she's the face.
yeah,
And when people cheer for you, you're the good guy. And also on that same point, Tim, it's been a long time since they've come out and another wrestler is getting the love over Becky Lynch. That hasn't
yeah.
happened in a long time. People do chant for Becky. I don't know
Yep.
why, but they do.
Yeah, no, it's going to be funny the dynamic that moves forward with those two. But I would expect that Mommy retains at WrestleMania, but we'll give our predictions when we get there.
Yeah, and I loved how she waited for the Becky Lynch said her whole thing, and she did her mic throw down, and she gets up and stares in her face with that silly look on her face, and, probably looking at blah, blah. And then she goes, "Are you done? Are you done? All right, now let the adult here speak." It was, man, I loved it, and I'm excited for this match. And like we said, it is a match that you circled. No denying Becky Lynch, one of the best women's wrestlers, certainly one of the most popular um, of all time. All right, so we've talked about the women's championship match. We talked about the women's chamber. Let's go on now to let's talk about the tag match. Tim, I thought it was actually really good. Um I like what's their new name again?
The New Republic or the new hold on.
And that's a throwback to, I think, their indie days, like when they were first coming up. I
The
think
New
they were
Catch
together.
Republic.
The new Catch Republic, right? Catch wrestling. That's a style of wrestling. So the new Catch Republic is, I believe, somewhere when they were coming up together over in Europe. So I thought this match was good. It had, everything just impressive physically. You can't watch it PLE. It was lacking the story going into it, but the match told a great story. I enjoyed it, and I would say probably the match of the night. But it's I'm not sure where they're going with this. You saw on Raw the Judgment Day. and Imperium getting into it. What'd you think of the match overall, Tim? And any highlights that you liked from that match?
I think the whole thing was like really well done. The one spot that was missed was there was a spot where like Priest missed uh it was something like a he like fell into the corner face first and it just looked awkward. But I agree with HJB. So the one thing that I love, like these guys like really sold out like big time. And you get the airplane spin from Tyler Bate. He does that thing, which is like really entertaining. It's
Yeah.
fun. And they use the ropes like so well. Like they do such great things with the ropes. But like Pete Dunne, like to the HJB's credit, he said, "Dude, I would love these guys if they didn't do like the whole finger thing, right?" And it just doesn't make any sense to me. Um, it gets a reaction still from the crowd, which is weird because it's not real. Like, I mean, there's a lot of things that are deceiving to the eye, right? Like when you watch wrestling. But like that is one thing that is officially not real. Like it's just the manipulation of the crowd and like it's like all bullshit. Um and it just doesn't work. I think that's the reason why the HJB hates it so much. And
And they
I
spend
couldn't,
so much time on it. It's
yeah,
like it
yeah.
takes up way too much time. Do a
He does
couple
it.
things, but
He
it's
does it
just
at least 3 times a match.
yeah. It's
And they,
just
but like the tag team stuff that they do, the new Catch Republic, the tag team stuff that they do is really innovative. You don't see much of it, and it's cool seeing them paired up together because like it's opposite of what they're wrestling against. Like Priest and Finn. I mean, they're just again like I talked about this way back about like just pairing like just wrestlers together and going, "Hey, you're a tag team." Like these guys don't deserve to have the belts. They're not a tag team. They're not an original tag team. They need to give them up at some point, and I think it's going to happen at WrestleMania at some point. But like, or it maybe it happens before that, but it just needs to happen so we can make that tag team division strong again. I really think that's what needs to happen. That's
I
my
agree.
opinion.
Yeah, and who will they now where do we go? Hopefully with you said less than 40 days until WrestleMania. We need to build up some sort of story for the tag division and hopefully it ends with them dropping the titles at WrestleMania. Maybe in that time it turns into what these guys should retain, but I feel like they lose the titles and give it to someone that can build some storylines with it. The tag division is getting deeper. Every week we seem to be talking about a new team that, like the new Catch Republic. If this team sticks
AOP.
together, AOP, Creed Brothers we mention all the time, DIY, Street Profits, even Pretty Deadly, Alpha Academy,
I
all of
love Pretty
these.
Deadly. I love
Right.
Pretty Deadly.
All these teams, are actual teams, and I feel like let's get some real heel work and storyline going on with the tag division and we'll see where that goes. All right. So let's get to the men's chamber and a lot of things like it seemed like a lot of this I don't like sometimes they go too much with the comedy stuff or trying to be a little too unique. Like Kevin Owens talking about when Randy Orton's on top of the thing, like, yo, look up, this and that. And then they've got the drawing on the chamber, and it's like all hokey, kind of like, what are we doing? And they're not really the chamber match itself, it's very exciting, like looking at it. I don't feel like it delivers on what the the chamber actually makes you think this match is going to
Like
be.
it doesn't deliver on the intention
Yeah, I
that
don't feel like it does. I don't know many times if it has, to be honest.
yeah. Um Yeah, I mean, through that entire thing, like this elimination chamber is supposed to be like hell in a cell on steroids, right? Like, and
Yeah.
we just don't get that. And that's a shame because it's supposed to be one of the premier, like I said, like premier events. Like this is something that people look forward to, right? Like they put a lot of stats out, like, oh, this is Randy Orton's ninth elimination chamber and yeah, all this stuff. Um, and the way that they did the chamber match this year, look, I didn't mind that whole like you said that it was a little hokey. I don't mind that stuff with like Kevin Owens and like Logan Paul drawing on the whatever on the actual chamber itself. Like he's marking it up and stuff. Like I think that's funny and stuff. But the match itself just didn't do it for me. I think the best competitor in that match was LA Knight, and he was again the was he the second or the first one eliminated?
I don't remember which number.
But he was out
I just remember
early.
the final three, so he had to be in the
Yeah,
bottom three. I think he was the third one eliminated.
but he was out. He was out early, but he was one of the ones that had like the crowd. Like I think Lashley got eliminated first. Um, yeah, no, actually, yeah, because AJ Styles came in and beat the shit out of him.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he was like, I think he was like the third one eliminated. But um like the all right, I'm gonna speak truths right now, and I want everyone to pay attention to me because the biggest takeaway from this elimination chamber, and I want to say it, and I said it first in our text line, Randy Orton is absolutely cooked. He is completely cooked. I can't see him winning another belt. What he did at the Elimination Chamber this past weekend was ridiculous. He basically laid on the mat for the better part of 35 minutes, complaining about his back. And he is limited to three moves. He does the rope move where he does the
The
DDT,
DDT.
and Michael Cole says every time, vintage Randy Orton. Well, guess what? Vintage Randy Orton is more of a fossil at this point because he does that, he does his quick suplex, and he does the RKO, and that is all he has to offer. And it's a shame because like he's an all-time great, but like if this is who Randy Orton is moving forward, why are we even talking about him? Why are we even wasting time or his spot in the elimination chamber? Like I don't know if it was a work or not, but like if it is, then I gotta see more. I gotta see more from him. If it's not, then the dude shouldn't be in a ring.
And he's wincing every time he does a move. I'm like, is he really like, is his back still in pain? Like, I don't understand. And, you know, me and my brother have talked about this for years now. I remember when Jinder Mahal beat Randy Orton for the title, and me and my brother were saying, good, like, enough of this guy, because to me, and, it's like you can't ever say this, but to me, he's been boring. And like you kind of mentioned, there's only the three moves. It's very predictable and it gets old. And I just don't understand because every great wrestler, I don't know if they're just trying to do him a solid, but like all the greats say how amazing Randy Orton is. And I just don't see it. And I don't like, and I'm like, well, they know better than me. They're in the business. They are the top of the food chain. They know what the best is and he just doesn't do it for me. So I don't know. I'm Tim. I'm 100% with you on that. And when he was coming back, in the back of my mind, I'm like, don't sway any opinions on this one. I don't like. He's obviously a name. He's a legend. He's had this incredible career, multiple championships. The crowd still loves him, but his in ring is just never been it for me. I don't know. I
Yeah,
just I'm just not I'm just not feeling
So
it.
you throw that into the elimination chamber, on top of like the disappointment in what we saw in Logan Paul. I mean, you throw Logan Paul into this match, you expect something enormous to happen with this dude. Like everything he's done something insane, and we just get nothing from him. Like did the same thing that
The cross body off the top, and
yeah,
that's
he
like
did the same thing as basically Tiffany Stratton, and I'm like, all right. I mean, we saw more from Montez Ford than the year before, where he climbs up to the elimination chamber at the top and drops himself off. It was like
and
pretty
Johnny
cool.
Gargano.
Yeah.
Gargano did
Um,
more. There there was a lot in maybe a lot of that is, I mean, look who we had in here. Logan was KO does some stuff, some high flying, but when you look at the just a bunch of heavyweights in there, you got Randy that's a limited move set now. You got LA Knight who is, you know, I think he's doing as good as he's ever done. But
well,
like
he's
I
limited.
yeah,
He's limited in what he can do. Like he's not a Ricochet. Like none of these guys are.
Bobby
But
Lashley,
yeah.
Drew McIntyre, his style is so you got four guys of the six there that and Logan Paul was the last one in. So you have all these guys that have that same bruiser heavyweight style. They needed to mix in a high flyer in there with them or someone with a little bit more of that speed to kind of be the yin and yang to kind of offset all of this, big meaty men slapping meat.
No, you're right. You're right. And I look, here's the thing. I loved how it finishes for Drew, right? Like the match, how it ends. Like Drew is now getting like gifts left and right, right?
Every week.
He's a matter of circumstance, right? Like he keeps on like benefiting from this stuff where he
Yeah.
hasn't in the past. And what the thing that like makes me annoyed is that okay, so Logan Paul is the one that suckers Randy Orton with the brass knuckles, right? Um, what is that about? Where does that lead? Like again, like these
United States
guys,
Championship match at WrestleMania.
but these guys don't have the same. They don't have their styles don't match up. Like Logan Paul and Randy Orton, like
Oh, sure. I think they actually match up better because Logan can do these things and Randy can be the guy there just kind of going with him. Like I think if anything they match up better to make Randy look good.
really.
I believe so because Logan's a little bit lighter. He's not a huge guy, so
But
Randy can do some of his moves and he'll do the high flying and Randy can catch him. Like there's going to be an epic RKO out of nowhere with Logan Paul and Randy Orton.
well, you thought there would be an epic like Logan Paul spot at Elimination Chamber, and there wasn't. Like that's the thing that I'm nervous about is like, all right, like what can Randy Orton do though? Like, is he seriously hurt or is this like just a work, right? Like, and it seemed like towards the end of that match, it was just a work because he was like he's rolling
Right,
around the ring, and then all of a sudden, like he jumps up and he gets the RKO, right? Like
right.
and you're like, all right, well, okay, I guess they're going Randy now, like
I
Randy
can't
Seth.
imagine they'd be having him if he was really hurt, they'd have him back in the ring.
Yeah, but
Unless this is it.
why make him look so bad that entire match? Like that's the thing that drove me nuts. Is like, dude, like I'm watching this thing and I'm going, what the fuck is going on with this guy? Like, either get him out of the ring. Like, obviously they would have pulled him out if he was seriously injured. So it has to be some type of work, right? Like
It has to be because he
he's
wouldn't even
being
be
the
in there because
he's
it's not the first time he's been doing it every week. Every
he's the
RKO, he's like, his back.
he's being the yeah he's being the Viper. right? Like,
Yeah, I
okay,
know.
well,
I tell you, dude, I hear you. Believe me, I hear you. And it's like, it's almost like it's blasphemous to say, how dare you speak of Randy Orton like in a poor light? But I'm with you, man. I never really saw it from him, and I like tried to be like, this guy is,
I'm
supposed to be
just getting
great.
again. I'm just getting in on him at the end of the career, and I'm like, I was happy to see him come back, and I'm like, every time I watch him, it's the same three moves, and I'm like, all right, what else does he have to offer? And look, every wrestler has their portfolio of moves, and um, it's a little a little bit more full
Yeah.
than what Randy Orton's offering right now. So I hope it's a work. I hope he continues to get better, but I don't know. It just didn't do it for me. Elimination Chamber, in my opinion, was like a C minus. The ending I thought was like a B plus. Uh, I love I love the Drew stuff. The Drew stuff. I can't get off of it. So keep on giving me the Drew stuff.
Yeah. So overall, I agree that it is a forgettable elimination chamber and no real like, whoa, I cannot wait for this match. Very predictable and was just basically a step in motion to get us to WrestleMania and kind of start setting that card. And so we have Drew McIntyre come up with the win again. He wins via interference yet again. Of course, he was knocked out from an RKO when Randy Orton got knocked out by the brass knuckles. He didn't know. He just makes the cover. Yada yada yada. Same old story. So then let's cut to Monday Night Raw when we get the promo between Seth Rollins and Drew McIntyre. And I love Drew McIntyre. And what I'm seeing from this, first of all, he's like the ultimate troll now. Like he's so good at kind of playing that line of where he does drop some truth, but then he also is just a jerk behind it, but it's done so well. And what I saw in this promo to me was a lot of foreshadowing, especially when he's talking to Seth about don't get involved with the bloodline. I don't want any interference in this match. He's proactive on saying he doesn't want any interference. The guy that's been winning every week via interference is very much saying he does not want that, which to me is a tell that there will be interference and it's going to be in his favor. And I'm thinking it's going to be from the bloodline, finishing that entire story of him joining the bloodline and them taking out Damian Priest.
Whoa, whoa, wait, what?
Yeah.
Wait, Drew joining the bloodline?
Or not the bloodline. Judgment Day. I'm sorry.
I'm
I'm
like,
sorry.
what is going on right now?
Judgment Day. Judgment Day.
What a
Taking out
pivot
Damian Priest. Yeah. He's the new leader of the bloodline.
of non-Samoan blood.
Yeah.
um,
The Judgment Day. Sorry.
yeah, that was a little bit of a curveball there. Here's the one thing that I'm confused about. I love everything that Drew's doing. The one thing that I'm confused about is why is he still attacking CM Punk? Like CM Punk's out for 6 months at least. What is the significance of that? Is it is it just to keep Punk relevant? Is that why? Like, because look, Punk's hurt. Is it a way to keep him in the fan? Like, I'm not saying that um Punk can't keep himself relevant at all, but is it an easier way to keep him in the fold as Drew McIntyre continues to troll him on a weekly basis?
I think it's setting up their future feud.
But
So,
six months out, we can't even get a definition on what match is going to take place at WrestleMania. Yet we're getting Drew CM Punk vibes, and CM Punk is on the shelf for 6 months. Why?
well, I just think you plant the seeds, you got to plant the seeds now to cultivate that crop later. And he's planting the seeds of, and he had been for the last
But
couple months.
there's planning the season, and there's what he's actually doing. I mean, he's aggressively attacking him like he's wrestling every day. That's the thing that I'm confused about is that I get like building a storyline. I don't get building a storyline where you're aggressively attacking somebody that can't actually wrestle for another 4 months.
Well, that's part of, you know, being the heel and just building it so that when they do fight in 4 months, I mean, SummerSlam is, really,
Mm-hmm.
it's right around the corner. I mean, I know WrestleMania is coming up in a couple weeks, but before you know it, SummerSlam's going to be right here, and you're going to have all of this material, all of this bad blood that's been building, and then Punk can now come
Mm.
back at him. I mean, it's good business.
Well,
I,
that's true. I mean, you could also say that the Royal Rumble's right around the corner too. I mean,
I mean, it is.
like that's my point. I don't understand it why there's you need to so Drew it's almost like a foregone conclusion. Like are they just going to have a like a this is a thing between Drew and CM Punk and like I just I it just bothers me. It bothers me a little bit that that's the angle that they're taking instead of investing more in what the Seth Rollins Drew McIntyre thing should be. Like he's more focused on
He was probably selling
CM.
t-shirts too. He's probably
Yeah.
seeing some money in there and is like, all right, but I mean, I just think it's like he it keeps attacking him. I bet you it kind of dies off a little bit now, but it's he said he took out CM Punk and he didn't want him to have that main event, and he officially booked the main event at Elimination Chamber. So it's kind of his victory lap of I've done it. I took you out. I did this. This is his victory lap. And I feel like you move on now and you can still take a couple shots here and there, but the focus I don't think will be as much. Now, if he's selling a ton of shirts, he might keep that up.
All right, I'll let it be. I'll trust you.
But I could see I see what you're saying. Like, all right, let's focus on Seth now, And I liked the promo and I thought I love the promo.
No, no, the promo is great. Like the promo is great. I just don't understand the angle on it. Like I get he's trolling CM Punk. I understand that. Like when he sits down in the middle of the ring, does the Indian style thing, I thought it was fantastic. Like people that know what that is about, like get it and they understand it and they love it. I just don't understand why we're taking it to the next level when you have a match for a heavyweight title at WrestleMania against Seth Rollins,
Do
not Drew
you
Mac.
have, is it
Not,
possible that you get a guest referee spot with CM Punk and
no, no, I don't think
um
that happens. I think I think it's normal course of business with these two. I just don't like Seth Rollins is such a big star. I don't want to, I don't think I don't need you don't need the guest referee, you know? I don't think you need that.
but I
It
think
just
then if you have him if it does play out the way I've like been talking about and the guy that cashes in the money in the bank and does the 1, 2, 3 on Seth Rollins, that even adds to the storyline with Seth Rollins.
maybe, maybe. I mean, you can go that direction. I don't know if that's what we're going to get. I
I
mean,
don't know either. I just,
we keep on speculating on this whole like Damian Priest cash in thing, and like at this point, it's ridiculous because I honestly don't think I don't buy into Damian Priest cashing in on a 24/7 belt at this point.
they might be doing something where he just never cashes in and he's the only wrestler to never cash in. I don't
Yeah.
know. But all right, let's move on. And I want to talk about right now the undisputed championship match. You got Cody versus Roman Reigns, and kind of this mess of everything that's going on right now. Now he's challenging The Rock, and I challenge you to a fight. So when are they going to fight? What's going on with it? And what I really need to see, and my big thing is if they're going to fight, I need to see The Rock and Cody Rhodes have a physical altercation, or else I'm not buying yet that The Rock is in fact with the bloodline.
You need
Until
a
he
little, you need a little tussle.
I need some undisputable evidence that yes, he is in fact 100% with the bloodline. Until I see it, I'm believing this is all The Rock pulling a
Hocus
fast one.
pocus.
Yeah, I do.
Um, yeah, I'm a little torn on this whole thing too because yeah, the segment at the end of Raw fell a little flat for me. When they've been doing such a nice job with like building this thing up, but it just felt like just so slow and kind of like mundane, you know, to the point where I'm like, there needs to be something that like juices this thing up. Like there's got to be someone else that's coming out. Like what's going on? And then it just ended with. So I'm talking about the segment on Monday Night Raw where yeah, Paul Heyman comes out with his goons and
Yeah,
yeah,
the three you know,
NYPD.
suspended NYP, like that
Yeah,
just was so I was like, what is this?
yeah. It was just a little off. And payment or not payment. Paul Heyman wasn't really on his A game too, which seemed kind of weird because he's usually on point. It just didn't have that pizzazz. I was hoping for more. Like this is the road to WrestleMania. We're 5 weeks out. We have a storyline that really is kind of just flapping in the wind. There's not much like real like direction to it. We don't know what's going on. Like we've already been misled like three different times. We thought it was going to be Rock versus Roman. Then it turned into Rock versus Roman. Then it turned into Roman versus Cody. Then it turned into Cody and Roman or Cody and and Seth versus Roman and Rock. It's like all over the place. And you said this just like we have 38 days, 37 days till WrestleMania. Like we need progress. We need storylines to fall into place. We need this thing to have momentum, like to the point where it's at a feverish pitch by the time WrestleMania gets here. And fans are like just frothing at the mouth, but like we don't have that right now. And that segment on Monday Night Raw sucked, in my opinion.
I agree. It fell short. Cody was forcing it now. Look, these guys just flew all the way around the world here, like, and it just it seemed thrown together like at this point, if we're not doing things, if we don't have it laid out, if they don't know what they're doing next week and the week after that and the week after that going into WrestleMania, then what the hell is going on? You know, there should be a clear plan of everything that's going on. And this didn't seem like a clear plan to have the suspended NYPD cops on the scene. This like
It's so weird.
it was just bizarre. And
Not only that, like, yeah, the NYPD cops were in San Jose. Why were they in California?
yeah, it was
Because Heyman
and then he's
made it.
calling on two phones, like call The Rock, call Roman Reigns. Hey guys, we got an issue here. Like, what the hell?
How about a little Teams call there, Paul?
Yeah, right.
Let's hop on Zoom, right? Like
Oh, we're gonna
what
teach you how to text, bro.
really
uh,
weird, really strange way to end that whole show. I'm hoping, dude, I don't know. Like we keep on saying like we need clarity on certain things and like you say that and you hope that you get it soon. But I feel like this is gonna be like kind of crazy until like the last week before WrestleMania. Like that's the way they always do it, right?
I mean, let's get an idea of who's wrestling on what. Like, is there a tag match with Seth and Cody versus The Rock and Roman? Is there a match between Rock and Cody? Is that going to happen on night one and then night two? Is like,
Well,
what
Tom,
the hell's going
how
on?
about we do this? How about we do this? Let's talk about what we know right now. So we know that Cody and Roman are fighting it probably day two,
I'm going to
right?
say that is the final main event, final match.
We know that, well, we don't really officially know, but it feels like Jay and Jimmy Uso are going to have a match at WrestleMania. It also
Right.
feels like that AJ Styles and LA Knight are going to have a some type of match at WrestleMania.
Feels like
That's
Logan Paul and Randy Orton are going to have a match.
um we
You
know
got
that
Mommy versus Becky
Mommy,
Lynch, Drew
yep,
versus Seth.
Io Sky versus Bailey.
Yep.
Um and then that's it really.
Yeah. So when does The Rock come in? Like, how does he come into play with this? I don't know. But it's is now okay. I want to talk about let's move on to something real quick because it just kind of struck me as we were talking about. I really liked the segment between Imperium and the Judgment Day. You had two factions out there. I thought they both looked good. I like that Dom kind of stepped up and said something. I was really big on Dom on Monday. I was impressed with him and just the minor details that he did. Like I mentioned the yawn earlier. I mentioned now him getting in the face of Gunther and say when Judgment Day says they're gonna do something, they're going to do it. And I thought that Damian Priest looked okay towards the end there. Is there a chance that he cashes in on Gunther now? Is this what they might be setting up?
Nah, I don't see that. I really do think that someone on our text line put out like a little like ladder match type deal. Is that the angle that they go with, which would be incredible. I think like look, we just got the Chad Gable like little vignette, which was awesome. Um Chad Gable, Gunther, and it's like five different guys, like
Jey
I don't
Uso could be
Jay
involved.
Uso,
Well, he's with Jimmy.
whoever it might be. Like it just you throw those guys all together in a ladder match, and I think it could be really special. Um,
What's
not
good
gonna
with
get
that too is you don't have to necessarily have Gunther lose.
right,
Like he can lose the match, but it might not necessarily be him physically losing. He doesn't get
right,
pinned.
right. Yep. Yeah, and that would be a special type of match because you have a couple like I don't know, maybe even throwing like a Ricochet or somebody, maybe even throwing Logan Paul. But yeah, like you said, like, he's kind of tied to Randy Orton now, so that's gonna probably be a little bit difficult. But um, the Miz has been mentioned, right, and like in that type of match too. It'll be
Kofi,
really
Kofi Kingston.
yeah. I mean, you want to talk about Imperium versus Judgment Day? Imperium versus New Day was like really incredible,
I love that
incredible.
match. And we talked a lot about in our year-end show, the underrated wrestler of the year. Man, Kofi Kingston has been fucking awesome. I
Yeah,
mean, he's been awesome. Like he's been on a run the last couple months that I've been like, wow. Like I forgot how good this guy could actually be.
yeah.
He's every week he's showing out. And the New Day is hitting harder than I remember them hitting in a long time as far as their physicality in their matches. And Imperium is banging right with them, and it's fun to watch every week. This street fight was awesome.
Yeah, Street Fight was really good. They also put into a little bit of like I thought we were gonna get like the lovable loser Sami Zayn, but like he ends up winning against um
Shinsuke
Shinsuke
Nakamura.
Nakamura, and he gets on the winning side now, and um, he's
He's
trying to
another
make
one
his
that could be in that IC ladder match,
yeah,
that you're
yeah,
talking about.
yeah. I mean, you could throw any of these guys in, but like again, we have 3.5 weeks, well, 4 weeks now to really build towards what we think is going to be one of the best WrestleManias of all time.
Yeah. And we're excited to do it. And I think that is going to bring us to the end of this week's episode of
Oh, Tom,
Hold
stop
on
the
one
stop
second.
the
Stop the
music,
music.
Tom. We need
Yeah.
to talk about one individual, one man that
Yes.
we lost today,
Virgil.
and everybody had a price,
You know
except
what?
Virgil.
We should talk about Virgil and his work with the $1 Million Man, and we've talked about the ties with Dusty Rhodes with Virgil. Dusty Rhodes' real name is Virgil, but Virgil the wrestler is someone that, especially from our childhood, is a wrestler that you always seem to remember. The servant of the $1 Million Man who eventually turns and has had enough and beats him for his $1 Million title. That was a great story back in the day, and R.I.P. to Virgil. Also, I'd like to mention Mr. Ole Anderson, Arn Anderson's brother, who passed away a couple weeks ago. Original member of the Four Horsemen. Two legends gone this week, and without them, we don't have what we have today. Four Horsemen, obviously, one of the major, maybe the arguably the
Actions.
greatest faction of all time, and and Virgil. R.I.P. Two legends. Jabroni Drive, paying our respects to two legends that have passed away.
Hold on, Tom.
Glad you brought that up.
Tom, hold on.
Uh-oh. Here we go. We pouring one out for him. What? I don't understand. I can't see what's going on here. You ringing the bell? Hey, we can't hear it.
It's a 10 bell salute.
Yeah, it's not picking up on the mic.
Oh man.
Ding. Ding.
Dude, look, hold on, real quick.
That's Timmy's now moving
He's
the
in.
camera. Oh, we see the bell. Boom. Boom. Ding. Ding. All right.
I tried.
Timmy, that's going to wrap up yet another episode of Jabroni Drive. You got anything you got to say to all the Schmidt and Lavellites out there before we sign off?
Tom, if you're not down with this show, we got 2 words for you.
Suck it! Oh, those 2 words? No?
No, I was just going to say, please listen.
We're sorry. My name's
Give us-
Tom Lavelle. Yeah, go ahead.
Give us another try.
All right, Timmy. Anything you got to say to all the Schmidt and Lavellites out there?
Tom, when you're a jabroni, you're a jabroni
For life. That's right. New episodes every week. For Timothy Schmidt, my name's Tom Lavelle. The road to WrestleMania. Hopefully we get some more answers this Friday. The Rock to be on SmackDown the next 3 weeks. What a time to be alive. What a time to be a wrestling fan. What a time to listen to Jabroni Drive. Until next week, peace.